But if you were to go on your phone and go into an emoji and type in mic, the first two images that would come up would be Shure microphones, the SM58, which you see all around the world. People can afford. There's no point in having the best product in the world if it's too expensive or it's unattainable. Michael Jackson used that back in 82, 83 to record Thriller. We have the thing with a microphone now, you get, a mic drop. It's a great moment. A mic drop. Boom. That started off because we tested our microphones by dropping them. We spend over $50,000 every year on artificial sweat. We do that because
Hi everybody, welcome to the Diaries. Today we are here at the Shure offices. Office? How many offices do you have?
it depends. It's one space, but we can split it into multiple areas if you like.
Okay, so we are in one of Shure's office and we are here with Mr. Antony. Hey Antony, how are you doing?
I'm good, Abu Bakr. How are you doing? Thank you for coming by our offices.
How do you say my name?
Abu Bakr.
Okay, that's a pretty decent pronunciation.
What did you say, Abu?
Yeah, Abu is fine.
Abu? What would you prefer?
Abu is fine.
Okay, we'll do Abu then.
Abu.
Ant.
It's
Not Anthony. Ant. There you go. Ant and Abu.
I mean, it's just few syllables short. All right, Antony, Ant. What do you do at Shure?
As little as possible. But officially, I have the pleasure of being the sales director and looking after MEASA. So that's Middle East, Africa, Central Asia, and South Asia. And I get to work with a couple of teams around the region and keeping ourselves happy. Yeah.
And Shure is a huge company, right? Centuries of history.
Centuries is over. It's 1 century at least. Maybe not centuries, but Thank you very much. Look, we've been around 100 years this year. Set up in 1925 in Chicago, in the US, and we're one of these companies who I think we're always there, but a lot of people don't know who we are because we're always in the background, and we kind of like it that way.
Which is, speaking of background, right? When we were doing a briefing, you mentioned a couple of things, right? A lot of people don't realize things are Shure, but it is Shure. And you showed me the examples of Elvis's mic. You've said a lot of stories about how these mics are part of the pop culture that everybody's so engrossed in, but nobody knows there's a huge company like Shure behind it. Tell me a little bit about that rich history of Shure.
So as I said, we've been around for 100 years. When we originally started off, we were actually a catalogue company selling parts to make your own radio systems. That's how our founder, Sidney Shure, started us back in the day. And we very soon got into microphones, and we've been involved with, a lot of people know us from being the old phonograph cartridges on record players, on LPs, on vinyl, which we then got out of that, and then vinyl came back. So we've changed over the years. But if you were to go on your phone and go into an emoji and type in mic, the first two images that would come up would be Shure microphones, the SM58, which you see all around the world, and the Elvis mic we referred to just now, the Super 55. So we're always there in the background. If you go on your Amazon Echo or Show at home, there's a picture of a microphone. It's a Shure microphone. We're just there. People just don't know we are. But without us and our products, you wouldn't have heard these messages, these songs, these speeches over the years.
And it's not just that, right? Like when you walk in, like I see a lot of these mics all over. Beautiful mic over here. And
subtle branding. Yeah.
And when you came into the office for the first time, which was that one Shure product that you genuinely wanted? Like that you said, like, hey, now that I'm here, I'll probably take one for home.
So I've been with Shure for just come up on 7 years, but I've been using Shure products for a lot longer than that. I've spent a lot of my life in events. So, I'm a salesperson at background, but I often used to get told, can you stop by the dealers and pick up those SM58? So, I've been playing with Shure products since the mid-90s, showing my age a wee bit, I guess. SM58, I suppose, is the microphone that everyone knows. We have the SM58 day, so the 8th of May, it's 58 day in American parlance, because they go month, year, day, and then year. So, we like that, but we've got many mics to choose from. We have thousands of microphones. Horses for courses.
And speaking of your background, right? You come from a sales background. Mm-hmm. You were actually raised in UAE, right?
Yeah, I'm an expat brat. I first came here in 81 with my family when I was very small. For like a lot of people, a couple of years, and then, like you get stuck here, and you suddenly end up spending more time here than you probably originally planned.
Yeah, and in this case, right? Like, what did you ever think that, hey, being in a niche field like audio and microphones and all these things was your pathway to like a huge global career?
Maybe like a lot of people, you sometimes fall into stuff. I've spent before Shure, I spent an awful lot of my life in events industry, either organising events or supplying to the events. So I was a Shure customer, supplying gear into events, whether it's concerts or conferences or whatever else it may be, product launches and so on. And then the opportunity came to sort of jump the fence and join the manufacturing side of things, which I took, both hands.
And you've been here for 9 years, right? 7?
Nearly 7.
Nearly 7, right?
I think some of my colleagues think it feels like 9 sometimes, but what to do.
And during this 7 years, what was that it moment that you said like, hey, Shure was one of the best places I worked at?
I think when I first joined, I knew I was joining a great brand. But when you come in and meet the team and just the welcome, it is genuinely lovely. I think the fact that this is a company that we have offices all around the world. We're headquartered out the States. We have over 32 offices around the world and manufacturing plants and so on. A huge range of nationalities. We're a very diverse culture in terms of, people's religions and what makes them tick socially. So, we're very much into our diversity initiatives and so on. We've got vibe groups around all that sort of stuff. We're encouraging.
Wait, Amma, stop it there. What do you mean by vibe groups?
Vibe groups. So effectively, everyone has their tribe.
Okay.
Yeah. So we try and set up groups so that people around the world. So let's say there's a woman everywhere group. So we're trying to encourage more females in the AV industry, which is terribly, terribly male dominated traditionally. And we're very proud of the fact we have a female president, and we're really pushing that. Obviously, different people from different cultures. So we share, let's say it's Ramadan here. Someone from here might talk about Ramadan, explain that to someone from Latin America who could be, a different religion and so on. So we try and encourage that sort of diversity in the workplace.
And it's not about just diversity in your workplace, right? Even what you sell out to the world, you're talking about diverse markets, diverse cultures. What role does having a diverse workplace play in that, right? Do you think you are able to get a better insight into how to sell to people, or is it?
Well, okay, let's look at UAE where we're at right now. So, how many nationalities call this place home?
A lot, yeah.
I've got kids at school here. There's like 85 different nationalities in their school. For us, what do they all need? Obviously, we're interested in the audio side. They all want good audio. So it doesn't matter what language you're speaking or what you're saying, whether you're on a stage or you're in a conference room or you're giving a speech in Parliament. You want your voice to be heard. Yeah. So that's what our kits does at the end of the day. We're selling solutions, it's boxes and electronics, but we're selling you solutions to your workflow, your needs, generally to get your message heard, to sell your products, to share your most beautiful song in the world with the rest of the world. That's what we do. We're enabling people, giving them a voice.
And that is one point we've had a chat about when we were doing the discussion, right? You mentioned something that I genuinely didn't know, right? I always thought that, hey, if I sing in this mic, and if I sing in another beautiful mic, or if I sing in a crappy mic, I still sound terrible regardless of it. And you told me that different mics and they have different profiles of sorts, right? How does that work?
I'm like you, I'm a terrible singer. So we'll still sound terrible, whatever mic. Yeah. But if someone's got a good voice, different mics will respond to different voices, or the other way around. The voice works better with a different microphone. So it can be the pickup pattern, it can be whether the tonality it's picking up, a whole host of things. So you will see many singers around the world, famous artists, they'll settle on the right mic for them and they'll stick with it. But I can guarantee you they will have tried multiple microphones first to get just the right sound for them. Maybe they've got a melancholy album coming out. They might actually use a different microphone and different equipment and settings than they would if they've got something more upbeat. You want to give yourself the best opportunity to convey the message you're looking for.
And does this also apply for like general storytellers, podcasters and everything else? Or is it just very specific to music industry?
No, I think, we've got a whole range of, our podcast range, if you like. it started off with our SM7, which has been around for 55-ish years. I should get that right. So it's called an SM7. Originally, it's a studio microphone. It was originally made to record music in a studio. Michael Jackson used that back in 82, 83 to record Thriller. And then suddenly, many years later, Joe Rogan suddenly uses it and suddenly, boom, and it's the biggest selling podcast mic in the world. What we're speaking on now is, a derivative of that. it's gone from that SM7 family. There's SM7, SM7DB, SM7B, a whole host of things, MV7s, MV6s, but they all, allow you to choose the right model of what you need for your particular budgets and requirements, and what you think looks good on the camera in front of you.
And this is a lot of products, a lot of time going developing the product, selling the product. And there was, I would imagine that developing these products is no small feat, right? Like there would be a lot of R&D that goes into it.
There's a lot of R&D. I mean, the core, our DNA, it's all about quality. Many years ago, we supplied to the military, and we were proud to do so. And obviously, therefore, you have to match military specs. And when the conflict that we were supplying for finished, this is back in World War II, back in the day, we made a conscious decision to still keep with that quality that the military was insisting on, even though we didn't need to, but because we wanted to give that to every consumer, whether it's the individual or the corporation or the government or whoever is using it. And so, whenever we launch a product, we have a hugely, complex setup in terms of making sure it's the very best product it can be. So the example I like to use, and maybe it's not the nicest one, but we spend over $50,000 every year on artificial sweat. We do that because we have a lot of products that are used on a stage, or whether it's on a theatre or a concert, whatever. And of course, it gets hot there, and performers underneath the lights and so on. So we need to know how the product's going to react if it gets hot and sweaty. If it's inside the costume of a dancer at a ballet or something, it's a microphone up underneath the wig. How is that product going to last over 2 or 3 years? So we drip dots of sweat every 5 seconds onto each component of the microphone, whether it's a lavalier microphone or whatever else, so we can test how it is before it goes in the field. We try and break stuff. When you go to IKEA and you've got sometimes the machines that are opening and closing the drawers 10,000 times, or putting the weight on the seats. We do the same. We have the thing with microphone now, you get, a mic drop. It's a great moment. A mic drop, boom. That started off because we tested our microphones by dropping them. So literally our interns, when they first joined our quality department years ago, and our president, Chris Shavink, she started in quality. One of her earliest memories of Shures, her job was to take a microphone and drop it, and pick it up and drop it, and pick it up and drop it, and test it. Still working. Okay. That's what we used to do, because that's what happens in real life. If you go on stage, they get battered around, you're on tour, on a concert or so on. So we need to know that when it goes out there, it can live up to our high expectations. Our founder, Sidney Shure, so it's his name. He always said he'd only have his name against products he was proud of. If it came to the point where we made products that he didn't want his family name associated with, we have to fold.
That's very interesting. And you speaking about like how Shure used to supply for the military, right? Once the war was over and everything's done, I believe like your collaboration with other entities, like private entities, governments, that didn't stop, right? What part does this collaboration play in the R&D process?
And obviously, we cover different markets. We've spoken about the rock and roll side, the pro side, if you like. I mean, let's look at the corporate side. You're in a boardroom, we're on a Teams call, a Zoom call, or whatever your preferred flavor of your platform is. It's not. We're most interested in audio, of course, because we're biased. But then it has to be video as well. There has to be the ability to share content. So whether it's showing your slides, whatever format you're using, or you want to show your video, you want 20 people in a row and see them all. So you don't just hear them, you see them. It's not just one big room. You can't see who's talking. It's zooming in the cameras. So we have to collaborate with other manufacturers so the end user gets that ideal full experience. We all think we're the most important element, but at the end of the day, the end user chooses.
Sum of all parts become.
Exactly. It's greater than their individual parts, definitely.
And when you talk about collaboration with other companies and things, right? How would you define a successful collaboration?
I think a successful collaboration would best be proven when the end user can use the products together in a way to achieve a goal they're aiming for with no hassles. So, a lot of the time, again, in corporate world, people want to know that it's certified by whatever brand you're using. And therefore, we'll lend our products to another manufacturer. We'll take theirs back. We both try and test them together. We exchange notes. We make sure it's all working. We make sure we're happy. And then it goes away for certification. again, whether it's from a Microsoft or a Zoom or whoever it is, because they want, again, in the same way that we said about Shure wants to put our name on something we trust, they don't want to say it's Microsoft certified unless they know they're not going to get hassled by their customers. They want their customers to have the best experience. So, when we can come up with a collaborative effort, it could be 2, it could be 3, it could be 5 or 6 manufacturers who come together and solve a problem or a need for the end user. That then shows it's worked. And if they keep reordering it time and time again, using it in offices all around the world, you know that you've done a good job and you can be proud of yourself.
And I would imagine like collaborating with companies like your Microsofts and your Zooms and all these things plays a huge role in sort of a work industry, which is like, hybrid. Some people work from home. And
100%, yeah.
I remember COVID when I was there, like we were stuck at home and we had crappy mics and everybody sounds, all you hear is sound. A lot of people don't realize like how important audio is, right? And is that something you working in Shure think as well?
I mean, when COVID started, yes, we all suddenly had to work from home. As you said, maybe we didn't have the best gear ever. I think the irony is that by the end of COVID, a lot of people suddenly found they had a better equipped home office if they were lucky enough to have an office, or even their kitchen table or the spare room, whatever it is. And suddenly then it was the difficulty of encouraging people to go back to the office because but I want the best audio and video and the collaboration in the office that I've now built up over a couple of years in my home.
Yeah.
And we've seen that some companies are more successful than others and some industries are more successful than others in getting the people back to the office, But yeah, again, we had to have the best gear. And, back in the early days of COVID, suddenly you see something online of this is the best camera you should have. You couldn't buy them for love nor money because they were all just bought up all around the world. And eventually people found the solutions. So it definitely changed the way we work. It changed the industry. It changed our mindsets. I'm in my role now, I'm in the office most days. But previously when I was in Shure doing other roles, I worked from home 99.9% of the time. I reported directly into the US. I got to spend more time with the dog at home. It was cool. Yeah.
And Shure also is a huge global brand that sells to a lot of countries, right? And an observation that I had, at least when it comes to podcasting or audio in general, right, whether it be music, podcasting, or any art form that involves a mic, I see that this is a market that requires a lot of education, right? It's not a mature market. It's not they haven't been having pop stars for years and years and years, right? It's a very new market in here. Do you, and I've seen your workshop rooms and everything, how much education goes into this market? And is it the same across the world or is this market a little special?
No, I think everywhere needs pretty much the same. I mean, as you said, so we've got a training room here, we've got a boardroom, meeting spaces, and the idea is to have all the equipment set up so people can come in and use it. The proof's in the pudding, come in and use it, and also we take it to your place and set up in your environment as well, so it's not us having cheated the environment or something like that. But yes, education is important. These days and age, we can all go online, we can all buy something, we can all educate ourselves by watching videos on YouTube, whatever, and suddenly think we're experts, and then we buy stuff. And I'm not just talking about audio, I'm talking about pizza ovens or anything, whatever it may be. Suddenly we think, this is it, I know what I'm doing. And then sometimes you get those regret buys. It's like, maybe that wasn't the right option. So yes, the important thing is to offer education, whether it's the end user, whether it's to the integrators who put these difficult, complex solutions together, whether it's consultants to make sure they're specifying the right product, government so they know what they need to be looking at purchasing. Education, you can never have enough of it. It has to be done. It normally has to be done a constant thing as well. So if you teach somebody something immediately, put all the information in their head, how much is retained a week later, a month later, 6 months later? So it needs to be repetitive so they can come back in and relearn. So we have great resources on our website. There are videos on YouTube and Instagram and various other platforms we use regularly. We have stuff on WhatsApp in some markets where they use WhatsApp a lot more. And then we have official training courses where people can sign up to. And if not, pick up the phone. We'll talk to you. We'll talk you through it so you're happy with what you're buying.
And that's important, right? Like I would imagine when we started the podcast, right? Like a very quick example is that I didn't have money to buy Shure, right? Plain and simple, right? So my immediate thought was like, hey, let me get the mics that I can afford, plug it in. Let's start rolling, right? And then when I see a mic that's of high quality, like the SM58s, right? I look like, hey, this mic looks exactly like my mic. I'm getting a decent quality out of this. Maybe the SM58 would be better. But maybe for this environment I'm in and the type of audio I'm recording, the SM58 is probably not the best choice I could have bought at that price range, right? And I would imagine this is a common concern across different people, right? Like I would see that, hey, a mic looks like this. It has that gray shiny ball on top and a black body, right? And I go in to buy a mic and I'm going to buy that mic, right? What does Shure or what do you do in your position to make sure that people buy the right equipment for the right setting and everything?
It's a proof of concept. So if someone comes to us and wants to has the questions, which is the right mic for me? As we said, they can come into here into our offices. We can demonstrate stuff with them. It's if you're on a trade show, often we will have for more on the consumer side of things, we'll often have our mic town area, and then people will have dozens of microphones set up with headphones, and so literally you can go along and plug in and you can sing to yourself, or you can talk, or you can sing to your friend, and you can then judge, it's the 57, it's the 58, it's the this, it's that, whichever one you want to work with. You've got to be comfortable with it. It's, as with anything, you have to have that faith that it is the right option for you. And that's why we have so many SKUs. And it's not just us. There's alternatives, brands out there as well. So, there's the consumer will always choose and find what they want.
And do you think like this customer experimentation has changed with the rise in your creators coming up? Everybody has a podcast now, including me, right? So do you think this experimentation has flourished since the creator economy has boomed, or do you still feel like there is a lot more to do?
No, definitely. I mean, as I said, the SM7 originally started off as studio mic, and it's now ubiquitous with the podcast world. And then whatever we do, whenever we launch a product, we think it's going to be used in a certain way, and the market goes, no, we're going to do that, and we're like, no, we've designed it to do this, and they're like, no. So I know you asked about podcasting in particular, but we've seen the SM said it's a studio microphone, and then the SM58, the most, probably one of the most famous mics in the world, is seen on every single stage on every single concert in the world. It was originally designed to be used in a studio for recording songs. It just happened that back in Las Vegas, back in the day, someone I think who was working with the Rat Pack literally got a microphone and threw it across the engineer and said, "Try that on the stage," and it worked well. So it was almost an accident, and it went on to become the single biggest selling microphone in the world every year for the last 40 years. So you can start something down a certain route, and it finds its way. So what we're coming out with for the podcast industry today, some things work, some people like, some people go, no, I want to combine these things, and we did, okay, try it. If that's what the market wants, that's great.
I would also imagine when somebody hears the word Shure, right? At least when I was starting the podcast, it's like, this is way out of my budget. But when you really think about it, something like an SM58, it's not that expensive, right?
It's not.
Is there a reason why we equate Shure to high-end, luxury, high-quality product? I know why the high quality, but the price range.
Well, I think maybe that's just a thing. We do go on about quality, and we're very proud of it, and I think rightly so. We talk about it, and then maybe people therefore assume it's more expensive than it is. But we need to sell solutions that create solutions and sell them that people can afford. There's no point in having the best product in the world if it's too expensive or it's unattainable. As a manufacturer, that's a relatively short-term game, and we've been around for 100 years. So I think we're doing it right more than we're doing it wrong. No one's perfect. Sometimes we have to change tack every now and then. But I think we've got it about right.
And speaking of the market demand, right? Like a very common thing that I see in the market is every company going out and saying, hey, the product's packaged in a sustainable way, the product's manufactured in a sustainable way. For a company like Shure, how much of it is a company-led effort versus how much of it is a market-led effort?
You're right. Look, it's becoming more and more important as we, maybe a bit late, but all the world is picking up on the fact that we probably need to make more of an effort because we've been going down the wrong path. We have a company sustainability officer. We've actually, last week in the US, there was probably one of the biggest shows in our industry was Infocom. We won a couple of sustainability awards at Infocom itself. Yes, we try and improve things around the packaging. Yes, we try and improve things. Maybe in the past you had extra pieces that came with every microphone and that you didn't use all of them. We've all seen when you buy a product and it's got 3 or 4 different plugs depending on where in the world you are, and you do need the European version or the UK version or the Japanese version. We've done away with that as much as possible. We're creating packaging that is as environmentally friendly as possible, and I suppose more than anything else, our products last for years. People use our mics for donkey's years, literally. So it's not like it's a throwaway culture. Sometimes as a salesperson, I wish that people would, they might break a bit quicker so I could sell more, but that's the beauty of what we're selling. It makes it an easier sell because people trust the quality.
We do see a lot of products come out with like planned obsolescence, right? Which I've never heard.
Not from us.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you.
All right.
And maybe that'll go against us one day, but no, I think so, we have products that I know. I mean, I've been out on sites around the world, and you sort of see stuff, and you go, when was this installed? And like, 25 years ago. It's like, okay, cool. I'm glad you're getting value for money. That's
And being a manufacturer, right? You also have the problems of logistics, global logistics, things moving from place to place, and all these things. How do you tackle that? Like, what is it that Shure does to make sure that the impact of that is lower or even probably neutral?
Yeah, I mean, we have multiple manufacturing plants around the world, so it's not just a one-stop shop in one place. That's for logistics. It's for the air miles and so on, the carbon footprint. It's also just, it allows for geopolitics. If the world's changing, and so suddenly what it could be au fait today might not be the preferred option tomorrow. So we need to balance that out. So we have markets all around the world. We sell into well over 150 countries around the world. So we need to try and cover all those markets as quickly as possible.
And coming back to you, right? Let's circle back.
Oh, the boring stuff. Okay.
If somebody, I'm 25, right? And somebody who's seeing this episode who's also 25, what does that person have to do to be at a role like yours? What was that trajectory for you?
I've done many roles over the years. I think as long as you enjoy what you're doing and you're passionate about it, then you should open yourself up to just going out there and trying it, and asking as many people and pushing, and don't be rude, but see what you can do. I said I've been around the industry and using the products for many years in different places, and I think you find your niche. I have to believe a little bit of that. It's not like I set out when I was your age, which was a long time ago, and thought that's what I want to be.
You don't look.
I knew I liked you.
Yeah.
That's
you don't look like a day older than 30.
I really like you, but thanks very much.
And do you feel like the new technologies that are coming out, like AI, and all these various generative things that are coming out, do you feel like it's going to impact an industry that is very niche and niche? Like the focus is very niche, right? It's audio.
Yeah.
Right? How do you think that's going to change? Of course it will.
I mean, AI is going to affect us all. I mean, I suppose you could say in some ways we've been using AI for years and years, but we used to call it machine learning. It's now been rebranded as AI in the last number of years. And I'll give an example. So in our microphones, obviously you have the inputs, you then have the speakers on the far end. That's the easy bit. And then in the middle, you've got signal processing. So you've got something like digital signal processing. In certain instances, so if we're in a boardroom again, I'm going to go back to the boring corporate stuff. You're on a call, you hear someone on a keyboard or eating crisps or playing with a pen or the dog barking outside in the neighbor's garden or whatever it may be. We've got algorithms in our processors that will take that audio and crush it down, but keep the voice up where you want it. You don't want to crush the entire audio because otherwise you wouldn't hear me. I'd get really quiet. That's not what you want. You want to still hear the voice, but get rid of all the background noise. So, we've been using machine learning or AI for many years, and it'll only get better and better. And I guess as it gets better and better, it'll become more available to more and more players. So that will encourage more competition and innovation in the market, and eventually the end user will get the better result. So it's a good thing. It's going to change how we do stuff. Exactly how, we don't know, but we're embracing it and looking at it and trying to move forward with it.
Okay. And to close off, quick rapid fires, right?
Okay.
And the rapid fires, not the ones that I discussed with you earlier.
You set me up. Excellent. Yeah. Okay.
Quite a lot of devices here.
Yep.
Right? What do all of these things do?
So this will be our. This is our Accent Digital. This is our flagship product. So it's amazing we put the flagship products in the shot, isn't it? It's almost like we planned it. We just had
to move the seats a couple of times.
We have here the range for top of the range wireless microphone systems, which you would use generally in a higher end environment. So on the stage, if it's in the CEO giving a speech in a town hall environment, we have in-ear monitors on here. We have the ability to scan the spectrum. So let's say wireless is out there. We're on the wired mics now, but there's a lot of interference out there in the spectrum. We've all got multiple mobile phones, whatever. They all need that spectrum, and it's getting more and more congested. What our stuff can do is the system is clever enough that it will scan what's around it. If it's on a bad channel, it will move itself. So, and you don't even know. It should be as simple as that. So that's what we can do. Whether it's in-ear monitors, so as opposed to having a wedge on the stage like you'd see, you can hear the mix of the drums, the guitars, the singers, the backing, whatever else. And then obviously into the microphones as well. So a whole host of things. You've got different aerials, antennas for picking up the signals.
So the ball thingy is a sort of an antenna, is it?
It's an antenna, yeah.
Okay.
So it's an alternative. So you've got the shark fin, if you like, and then this one here. And different uses in different environments.
And just out of curiosity, right? Like, we use wired mics because I think wired is beautiful. Everything here is wired, and everybody hates me for it. And it's also from a fact that I always thought that having something wireless reduces quality and things, which I would assume is not the case with Shure, right? Like, how does the technology work in a way that the wireless is almost as good as the wired?
So again, we've used wireless mics for many, many years, and it's a strength of Shure. And we took that skill sets we had in that pro world, the concert world, the touring world, whatever, and we brought that into the boardrooms and so on. So for instance, we even have discussion systems now, where back in the day, other older brands would have a system which will all work fine when you set it up, and everyone comes in and they turn on their phones or their iPad or their laptop, and suddenly you boo, 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 and all the systems fall over. Again, we have to understand the physics, and that's what it comes down to at the end of the day, is what's the spectrum available to me, and how do I get the best use out of it? How can I cram the most amount of channels into the smallest space so I can take that anywhere in the world? You have a world-class event. So obviously we had Expo here a few years ago. We have, in Saudi, the World Cup's coming up, not too far down the line. There's a lot of microphones all using the same space. How do you get them all playing nicely alongside each other so that, A, the people can give their message on the stage, B, the broadcast vans can take it and send that signal out so you can then watch it on the further afield at home or miles away, whatever it may be. And we have to play in that space because there's only so much spectrum, and we have to come up with the best ways of using it. So we do that. There will always be a space for wired, and there's wireless as well. Again, it's horses for courses. What works best in the environment? And
to close it all off, Anthony, what does the future look like?
Rosy. It's look, there's opportunities out there. It's exciting, lots of opportunities, and we're looking forward to it.
Awesome.
Come back again, and we'll tell you about it.
Yeah, I'm happy to sit here all day if you want.
They don't want you to bring wireless next time, so they don't have to tie it all down. Yeah,
it's their problem.
Well, there you go. But they're still smiling, so thank you.
They have to. They're forced, right? Like,
is that in the contract? You must smile.
No, I don't drive. I won't drive them back home. I'm the one with the car.
Okay.
Yeah.
How big's your car?
It can fit 4 people.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Anthony. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you very much indeed for coming by our place. Nice to meet you. Cheers.